So tell us about yourself and your background, and how has your experiences prepared you for the job that you're applying for?
My background, actually, it's been a long road in ticketing for a while now. Before working here at Weber State, I worked in a box office for Weber County, and there I didn't just do ticketing, I also did financing, accounts payable, accounts receivable as well. And then I've moved on to this job that I have now, which is building the events and doing contracts.
Okay, I think that probably involves a lot of financial type things. What experience have you had formulating budgets and working with budgets?
I had the pleasure of working with the events coordinator out at Weber County, and also the facilities manager out at Weber County, and yearly we would go over all the budgets, and he would take all of the Excel spreadsheets we did with all the budgeting, and we would put it into his budgets. He would let me know what they are, so I actually have some experience with that, and knowing that we needed to, for the next year, make sure that it would all work out the way that we wanted, and knew that we had projected budgets 5 years out, 10 years out that we were trying to hit and we were trying to make.
So how familiar are you with the spreadsheets and with Excel and with those programs?
I would say I'm pretty experienced. I would not say expert level, but I know my way around, and that has been an asset to our office so far, that I have been able to create some of those for our current office here at Weber State.
Great. So that puts us into a lot of the events information, and what's like the most important part of the events, like maybe break it down into 5 different categories of priorities that you're dealing with in setting up your event.
Yeah, that's actually really easy to do because we are always multitasking across departments. There are athletic events, and there are performing art events, and there are camps that some of the athletics do that are kind of their own category on the side of that, and they'll all fall into the same time period, and so you have to make sure that each one is getting the attention that they need and getting what each one needs out of us to make them work.
Along those lines of making sure you have everything, what if, and tell me a time of when you didn't have maybe all the items that were needed for that event to pull off for?
We have events where we get things sprung on us at the last minute. One example is Forgotten Carols. They decided one year to do a Groupon, but they did not tell us ahead of time, and so we did not have time to set that up. So it was a hurry up and do and make it work, and I think we did a successful job of making that work and letting the customers know that we were going to take care of them, even though we didn't have the information right at the very beginning.
You've had to supervise employees a lot. How do you handle an employee that's just maybe not cutting the grade?
So we have had employees that have needed extra coaching. So we try the coaching first, bring them in, have some talks with them, and try and work to their style to get the best out of them that we can first. And then if that doesn't succeed, then you start with the warnings and some of maybe more of the disciplinary actions that you can take. You need to make sure you were documenting everything. And there has been an instance where we did once have to fire someone because they just weren't showing up for their shifts and just were not being employees that we needed to have.
Okay. Have you ever had an untruthful financial type worker turning in wrong hours or not getting all the ticket money to you or anything?
You know, we haven't had to deal with that on a large scale ever. I imagine that if I did ever have to deal with that, that I would just have to make sure that I was 100% what was going on. I would never accuse anybody of anything that I did not know. And so I would just make sure that all the steps were in place so that we could tell exactly what was going on. They already are. If somebody did do that, then it would be pretty clear to us what was happening. And so at that moment, then we would have to terminate the employee.
Is there a time when you had to handle a fan base or a team that was upset with what they were getting out of the event?
Yes, out at Weber County, we had a circus come through that was not happy with the amount of sales that they were getting, and they did not like that we made them come through our ticket office and we're not allowing them to sell their own tickets. And all marketing was up to them. Any outside events marketing was up to them, and so they were very upset. We had to take them in and explain again the contract and the benefits that they were getting from us and by us doing it. And by the end of it, after the circus was over, they just were so happy that we had handled their tickets and that they didn't have to handle all the problems that they normally have to handle. And by the end of it, they were very happy, but it was a road to get them there.
Communication and advertising are an important part of the role you're applying for. Give us an example that demonstrates these skills, including dealing with difficult people.
So one example, we just actually did a football playoff, and in order to get everybody logged into our ticket system and to get the tickets, the season ticket holders, to get their tickets, they have to log into our account. So I did up a spreadsheet that was instructions how to do that, and I have all the emails, and I sent that so that it could be sent out and explained to each ticket holder so that we can help that process along and make sure that everybody was getting what they needed.
Do you have any kids?
My family status is not going to be a factor in me being able to do any of the duties that this job would apply, or yeah.
So do you plan to have kids in the future?
Again, I just want to reiterate that my family status it will not have an effect on the way that I can handle this job.
Do you have any other questions?
Just tell me of another time when you've actually had to handle a upset customer that you were dealing with directly at an event or something.
Right, so there have been some seat changes in basketball, and we had to actually move some people out of their seats, and some of those people were not happy about that. They have had their seats since the D opened, or some of them 13 years. And to handle that, you just have to be really flexible and calm, and you have to listen and find out what they really are upset about so that you can help get to a solution that will work for them, that you actually have available to them.
And have fun.
Okay, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for coming.